person's body is just filled with parasites and parasite eggs all over the place. Those very white spots you see, those are all eggs. Now, how did this person get this way? They got this way by eating undercooked pork for 10 years. And not just undercooked, like undercooked and raw. This can also happen from like undercooked bacon and stuff like that. That's why you really gotta fry it up. The condition this person has is called trichinosis. It comes from the trichinella parasite. And honestly, I'm not even sure if you would survive this. I would assume it would eat your body literally from the inside out. When the infection is extensive and heavy like this, people have trouble regulating their heartbeat, breathing, and even moving. Which makes sense because your body is literally being eaten. All the nerves, everything.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG videos, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank the seekers, man, who's tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell. Really appreciate that, man. I greatly appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best. Seek the truth.
Now this is why you should not marry your cousin.
Okay.
In a village in Turkey, there is a family that walks on all fours. Hidden from the world, discovered by only a handful of scientists, this family have never been able to stand upright. Experts have been baffled by this. The family displays an almost animal-like state. But why? Well, the parents are first cousins and have 18 children. Because of this, the kids were born with an extremely rare disorder that affects their sense of balance. Sadly, the children are treated like social outcasts. They're even bullied and beaten up by the local kids.
It got that bad where it's like they're in like I said, they're in that state, they can only walk on their hands. The other thing they have 18 kids together. What the? Not too much to say on that, seekers.
Here are the top 5 most disrespectful predators in nature, because sometimes it's not about a meal, it's about sending a message.
Let's hear it.
Is the jaguar. Their whole game plan revolves around factory resetting their prey by tooth punching their skull. Alpha bounce strongest bite of any cat turn a lizard into luncheon. They'll put a caiman out of order. That's a reptile dysfunction. It's the fact they go into the water to turn an alligator understudy into a belt. Forrest the falcon. You want to see why? You want to see it again? Imagine a 240-mile-per-hour avian assault to the back of the nugget. And with weak claws for a bird of prey, falcons ball up their feet before impact. So yeah, they can literally falcon punch your ticket to the cloud cookout. 3 hyenas. No particular reason. 2 are golden eagles, because what do you mean you yeet goats off cliffs? Where did that thought process come from?
What the?
You said you want to be like Mike, you want to fly? I got you, first class. Then you go subject them to this NPC at death, gave them time to do nothing but reflect. One needs no explanation, but you're still gonna get it. Orcas are liable to world star slap a stingray, and like falcons, they're not above weaponizing physics. You want to see how fast a seal can join the Air Force? Follow a desaturated psychopath long enough. And let it be known, they don't have to be in their element to emancipate you from the population. Some might say too smart for their own good. I disagree. You'll find they're doing quite swimmingly.
A Barbie left on the cliff with his murdered child might be used to solve her cold case. 6-year-old Rosie Tapia was abducted from her bedroom on August 13th, 1995. Her mother had gotten home at 3 a.m. and checked on Rosie in the bedroom that she shared with her siblings. They were all sleeping soundly with the window open, and her mother went to close the window but didn't lock it because the noise would wake the children. Literally just 2 hours later, her mom woke up and got a feeling that she needed to check on her children. Rosie was gone, and her body was later found floating in the nearby canal. Police determined that the screen had been pried off from the outside, and being so low to the ground, an intruder could easily get in. And unfortunately, any DNA on her body was contaminated by the canal water. And after Rosie was buried, the family found a single Barbie doll sitting on her grave. And police are hoping that DNA from the doll can be used to solve the case. Advances in DNA technology give hope that one day Rosie's case can be solved, and over 60 people have been swabbed, but no one's been arrested. There are multiple suspects in this case, including a man that was seen walking with wet jeans on the morning of Rosie's death, and this man in the hat and sunglasses that carried Rosie back to her apartment after she hurt herself on the playground the day before she died. I do a deep dive into possible suspects and theories on the murder of Rosie Tapia on my YouTube channel, Celestial Sylvia.
Things humans...
What do you guys think, man? There's a whole bunch of things about that case, man, that doesn't right. The not locked windows, the 2 suspects, especially that they said the drawing of that man who brought her back the day before of the events that took place. Was he like watching her? It's things we got to be aware of, man. You never know who's watching.
We're never meant to see.
Okay.
Firstly, we've all seen alligators poke their head out of water, and it's pretty terrifying when they do this. However, this is what their body looks like underneath the water. And this honestly makes alligators seem a lot less scary. This is what water looks like on fire. How is this even possible?
What?
Okay, next, in World War II, the US made inflatable tanks that were used as decoys in the war. This is genius. We were not meant to see this. This man threw boiling water off his balcony, and it instantly turned to snow. And this is a super rare sheepfish. It's a snail that has the head of a sheep and the body of a plant.
Whoa. Learn something new every day. At it. Call it like I see it.
Do you ever see a picture that just makes your stomach drop? This is a still from an alert that a woman named Alexis Randall got on her phone. It's from a security camera that was set up in her living room, but she's looking at this and she's thinking the same thing you are. She's like, what's wrong with the picture here? Why did the motion detector go off? But then look a bit closer, specifically at the bathroom door.
I don't see nothing.
This man was staring at the camera from the doorway. She spots this picture and she immediately panics and calls the police, but by the time they get there, this guy is gone. What really freaked her out even more is that when police got there, they found evidence that the bathroom window had been tampered with. Further security footage would show that the man had crawled through the bathroom window the night before and was hiding in the hallway bathroom all through the night, even while she was in the house. And if you guys are loving Creep Time, make sure to go follow on Insta.
Man. How the hell he was in the whole house and she didn't even know? See, it's things like that, man, that makes, if you by yourself, it makes living like that scary, bro. You're in a hole, you're in a place by yourself, and like you said, it was pitch black. I ain't seen nothing in the pitch, but yeah, if you zoomed in, there's definitely was somebody there. And he was there the whole time, he didn't do nothing. What was his intention, man? What was he even doing in there? That's gonna make me check every dark room from now on, bro. I can't have somebody in my house and not know it.
Really weird fun facts that you might find pretty damn interesting. Number 1, banging your head against a wall for an hour burns 150 calories.
What?
Number 2, approximately 40,000 Americans are injured by toilets each year.
Whoa.
Number 3, there's a higher chance of you being elected president of the United States than winning the lottery. Number 4, an average of 100 people choke to death on ballpoint pens each year. Number 5, it is harder to be an employee at Walmart than a student at Harvard because Walmart has a lower acceptance rate. Number 6, human birth control pills work on gorillas. Number 7, there are 2 million millionaires in the United States. I am not one of them. And number 8, like fingerprints, every tongue print is different from person to person.
Learn some new facts today.
How rare is your body? Let's find out. About 28% of people have a dark limbal ring, which is this dark ring around the outside of your eye, and as you age, you're more likely to have one. Only about 5% of people have these back dimples, and these are more common in females than they are in males. Only about 4% of people have something called a talon's cusp, and you can see it right here on the back of the tooth. It's almost like a little talon or fang, and they're usually benign, and they're more common in males than females. Only about 33% of people are left eye dominant, and yes, you actually have a dominant eye. And if you want to test which eye you are dominant in, put your hands in a little triangle, put them out and center an object in it, and then close your left eye, and if the object stays centered, you're right eye dominant, and if it's the opposite, then you're left eye dominant.
Try that. But what that symbol you said to me was that, like,
Yo, what's up? These are fun facts about women that are actually pretty crazy. Part 5. Taller women are more likely to have cancer, whereas shorter women are more likely to have smaller babies. I don't think that's a fair trade, but it's not my doings. In Greece, throwing an apple at a woman was considered a marriage proposal. Now, if anyone did that in America, and they threw an apple at the woman they were trying to propose to, she would definitely walk up to him and calmly go, "Yo, why'd you throw that apple at me? That ain't cool. I'm gonna have to beat you, bruh." 80% of women will ask questions that they already know the answer to, and the reason being is they're not trying to interrogate us, they're just trying to see if we're listening and if we actually care about what they're saying. So, Just pay attention, guys. A lot of women lose 2 to 3 hours of sleep every night due to overthinking, anxiety, worry, whatever that may look like. And I'm not saying guys don't do this too, but women are linked to having less serotonin, which helps them go to sleep. So women, if you're still up, get on the Xbox, play some COD, and smack some noobs for us.
Really? What the well, there are just some new facts today, Seekers. That's a damn edit. What the fuck? You can clearly see that. Come on, man.
This person's body is just filled with parasites and parasite eggs all over the place. Those very white spots you see, those are all eggs. Now, how did this person get this way? They got this way by eating undercooked pork for 10 years. And not just undercooked, like undercooked and raw. This can also happen from like undercooked bacon and stuff like that. That's why you really gotta fry it up. The condition this person has is called trichinosis. It comes from the trichinella parasite. And honestly, I'm not even sure if you would survive this. I would assume it would eat your body literally from the inside out. When the infection is extensive and heavy like this, people have trouble regulating their heartbeat, breathing, and even moving. Which makes sense because your body is literally being eaten. All the nerves, everything. However, it is good news. The estimated death rate for this is like 0.2%. But also, I'm not sure how extensive a lot of those cases are. I'm sure they're not as extreme as this case right here. So that's your scary fact of the day. Don't eat undercooked meat. And this isn't just pork. Usually undercooked meats in general can give you this. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
That is scary, man. Goes to show you if your food ain't properly cooked, man. That's how I like my stuff crispy well done, because me personally, I don't even like eating undercooked stuff. It just tastes like completely weird to me. But that's another reason right there. I had all those parasites in his body. Like I said, you're literally getting eaten from the inside out because you're not properly cooking your food. Pay attention, man.
Tiny zodiac signs that will be rich in 2024. Rats have a good chance of winning the lottery or gaining from a successful investment. Monkeys will earn large amounts of money and be able to fulfill their biggest desires. Rabbits will join projects that put a lot of money in their pockets from as early as the first few days. Dragons will attract wealth like a magnet. Starting February 10th, money will pour in from everywhere, and dragons will be able to afford whatever they want.
Really?
Snakes will be rewarded by their bosses for their efforts and brilliant ideas. They'll receive a substantial raise or bonus, causing their income to increase greatly.
Yeah, funny thing about
that.
The sound of the lion in the MGM logo was actually the roar of a tiger. And it's because tigers were seen to have a louder, more intimidating roar, where lions had more of an aggressive, low-frequency cough. I'm not even kidding. YouTube it. YouTube lion versus tiger roar. A lion will make you defecate bricks, but a tiger will make you your soul. You know the majestic, shrieking call of the bald eagle in the beginning of literally every Western movie? Well, it was never a bald eagle making that sound. That famous cry was actually a red-tailed hawk. It's because the symbol of America just sounds like a seagull with laryngitis. Go ahead, YouTube it. I'm not going anywhere. The bald eagle takes credit for something that was never his in the first place. That is the bird we put on our flag. Some jokes just write themselves. Remember the dolphin sound from SpongeBob? Well, you were lied to, because it was never a dolphin. It was really a sped-up edited call of this Australian bird called a kookaburra, or however you pronounce it. Oh, you didn't hear it? Also, if you're old enough to remember this show, first of all, God bless you. And second, the dolphin call in this show was also a modified kookaburra. Okay, one more. Mufasa's roar was actually made by using a combination of a tiger, an F-16 fighter jet, and a really pissed off grizzly bear. It's called Lion King for a reason.
He was just exposing that damn freaking industry, bro. I thought all that stuff was real. The lion roar was really a tiger roar. The flipper, and that SpongeBob episode, man, all these that they just using different sound effects and just mashing them up together. Everybody needs to know about this, man. They've been lying to us. Should have known. Can't trust anything you see on TV nowadays, especially the times we live in.
loudest bird on earth sounds like.
That wasn't edited, by the way. They actually do sound like they could legitimately trigger a veteran. That is a white bellbird, and they're considered the loudest bird in the world, peaking at 125 decibels. And since that number probably doesn't mean anything to you, a jackhammer is 130, and a jet engine is about 140. Now, do you ever wonder what animals are trying to say when they scream like this? Well, don't. I'll tell you. He's horny. The male bellbird's game is literally screaming into the face of a female. And I'm guessing they're into it because it seems to work for them. And you know what else does? That weird hanging thing there? Yeah, that's called a waddle with 2 T's. And scientists believe that's how males flex on females. So the lower it hangs, the more he slangs. The more you know.
Alright.
Mo, can you just pass my drink that's on the table, please?
Edit.
Thanks.
We all know that's a damn edit.
The death of the Cranberries' lead singer Dolores O'Riordan still doesn't sit well with me. Dolores was the lead singer for the band The Cranberries, an Irish rock band. You might know the band from some of their biggest hits like Zombie or Dreams. The Cranberries were a massively successful band, and Dolores was actually one of the richest women in all of Ireland, with a reported net worth of over $66 million.
Damn,
in January of 2018, Dolores traveled from New York City, where she lived at the time, to London. She was traveling there to work with the producer on her side project and discuss a new Cranberries album. When she arrived, she checked in at this Hilton hotel in London, and this is eventually where she would die later that night. At around 2 a.m. on January 15, 2018, Dolores placed a phone call to her mother from inside her hotel room. Later that morning, she was found unresponsive in her bathroom and was pronounced dead at 9:16 a.m. The day after her death, a tabloid newspaper released an article that claimed that they had found fentanyl in her room. This article also falsely stated that London authorities suspected that she took her own life and that this overdose was on purpose. In reality, there was no fentanyl in her bathroom, but the circumstances surrounding her death are even stranger. It took months for her official cause of death to be released, but this is officially what happened. Apparently, her death was ruled an accidental drowning in her bathtub, following sedation by alcohol intoxication. So basically, they said that she got so drunk that she fell asleep in her bathtub and drowned. Toxicology tests done post-mortem showed that Dolores had some levels of pharmaceutical drugs in her system at the time of her death, but these were drugs that she was prescribed, and there was nothing out of the ordinary. She did have a very high blood alcohol level, though. According to authorities, there's no foul play suspected, and they don't even suspect that she tried to end her own life. This was just a tragic accident. If you're enjoying this series about bizarre celebrity deaths, be sure to give me a follow and let me know who you'd like me to cover next.
So you may have seen this image floating around the internet today. Because this image, which was recently released, was taken before Emma Brown, featured below, took a gun and turned it on her father and then herself.
What the
The photo is from last year in September, and the plan was part of a murder plot that her and another 12-year-old girl came up with. It was later discovered that Emma's plan was to kill her family and her pets and then run away with a friend. And after she shot her father in the abdomen, she was running towards the driveway when it's believed that she panicked and turned the gun on herself. This all happened in Texas, and now authorities believe that she was headed towards the driveway so she could grab her car, drive about 230 miles to her friend, and then the both of them were going to drive to Georgia together. It's also now believed that Emma didn't come up with this plan herself. It was actually planned by the friend, but they're not releasing the friend's name, and it's not clear how Emma and her met. It's a little implied that cops are blaming social media for this. They issued a statement that basically said, now is a good time to make sure you know who your kids' friends are. Especially if they're meeting people off the internet, because you don't ever really know what they're talking about.
Facts.
So I'm obsessed with the dark side of Disney. And did you know there's a horrible period of accidents at Disneyland that doesn't really get talked about a lot? It's been referred to as the Disney Dark Ages. It was from 1997 to 2003 when this guy, Paul Pressler, was the president of Disneyland. Paul basically decided they were no longer going to do scheduled maintenance on rides. They were only going to fix rides when they were broken. Did it save money? Sure. But this resulted in some of the worst accidents the park had ever seen. One of the worst being that of Brandon Zucker. In 2001, Brandon Zucker was on the Roger Rabbit ride, which was already having maintenance issues. An employee put Brandon on the wrong side of the car, and when he put the lap band down, it didn't close all the way. So at one point in the ride, Brandon tumbled out of his seat and was hit by an oncoming car. The car pinned him and dragged him down the track before anyone could do anything.
Also, at the time, Disney employees were not allowed to call 911. They had to call park emergency services, who then called 911. So it took a while for anyone to come get Brandon. He did survive the accident, but he had brain damage so bad he was nonverbal and lost a lot of motor skills for the rest of his life. And eventually he passed away at 13 years old.
Watching you sit there.
To hear, man, Disney back in, that's actually insane that they couldn't even call the cops. They had to call the people there, and then it was another call to the cops had to be made. Man, the things people do, bro, just to save some extra money, like it's not worth it at the end of the day, because you're affecting people. That, like, is one of the most dumbest ideas I've heard. We're gonna wait until the ride is actually broken and then decide to fix it. You try to stop a problem before it even gets to that mark. You don't wait till the problem actually happens, then fix it. What type of logic, backward logic is that?
Smile, laugh, shake your head like this was no big deal. I'm very tempted to just say I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial, and if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there.
Judge ain't playing no games.
Your why will never be better than his life. Your why will never trump my son's death. You get to live. You get to wake up every day. Your actions have led you to a prison cell.
He's smiling.
I'll be home soon, or I'll be Keon. I love my family.
That's all you got to say.
He gave him luck. How can people smile when they do something like that, man? Just like it's unhuman to me, man. Got it. It's not no freaking portal. See it from right there.
Did you know Jack the Ripper's identity might have been revealed? The Ripper terrorized Whitechapel, a district in London, England, in 1888, responsible for the deaths of 5 women. Sarah Bax Horton, a relative of one of the original police investigators, alleges that Jack was a cigar maker by the name of Chaim Hyams. Horton's claim is based on Hyams' medical records, as he suffered from a peculiar gait as a consequence of his alcoholism and epilepsy. This peculiar style of movement, a declining mental condition, and violent criminal history paint a potential solution to the long unsolved mystery. Additional evidence includes that Hyams also lived in Whitechapel, and as a cigar maker would have had many knives at his disposal, which some have theorized was the primary weapon of Jack the Ripper. Coincidence or mystery solved? Let us know in the comments.
This is why you have to be careful who you let into your Halloween parties. So this is a photo of who police believed was a guest at a Halloween party in Rochester, New York in the 1940s. The party was being thrown by Jack and Amelia Layton, and they actually noticed that this guest was outside of the party watching the guests through a window.
Weird.
The report claims that Amelia believed the guest was her friend Jan, who tended to go above and beyond for Halloween, creating very scary costumes. So she let this person in believing it was her friend Jan. But then 20 minutes later, Jan shows up, and that guest could not be found anywhere. So Amelia starts running around the party asking everyone if they knew who that guest was, and no one had recognized that person. So she goes into her daughter's room, who was playing while the party was happening. And the police report states that the only thing there left of Amelia's daughter was a bloody shoe. 4 other reports of this guest being at parties that night were called into police, and all of them resulted in missing children's cases. The identity of this person has never been found, and none of the kids have been found either.
Like she said, gotta be careful who you invite to these parties, man. Especially when you're having a big one, you can't kind of monitor how many people are in your house or in your area. Better have like try to have extra people watching, because you never know, man. You just had that one weirdo who just tries to slip through, ain't trying to have a good time. They have different intentions. And like she said, she was at 4 other parties, or that person. And look what that resulted into. Always be where you're surrounded, man. That's when I'm out. I don't wear my headphones like when I'm out walking and stuff like that. Only sometimes, because I like to be aware. I need to know what's going on around me at all times.
So I always thought no one ever dies at Disney. Like, even if something horrible happens, they get the person off the park so they can always say that no one's ever died there. But then I found out not only is that not true, but a law firm has compiled all of the incidents. I'm going to share a few of them with you, but if you're interested in stories like this, make sure you follow the podcast because tonight's episode's just going to be these stories.
Okay.
So 2 of the park's worst accidents have both happened on the Matterhorn ride. One of them being a woman named Dolly, who in 1984 fell off of one of the back of the sleds onto the rails. At the time, these gondolas used to go into the rides, and so there was actually a family that watched her fall off onto the track. And so the family also saw as there was another car racing towards Dolly. The dad actually screamed at his daughters to cover their eyes, which was for the best because Dolly got hit hard. She got hit so hard that when EMTs arrived on the scene and were going up into the ride, there were park attendants coming down telling them not to look. And so finally, when someone was looking at the car she was in, they noticed that her seatbelt was unbuckled. But it's never been confirmed if she unbuckled her seatbelt herself or if an attendant didn't check her seatbelt well enough and it was never buckled in the first place.
There's a horrific murder case that's happening right now out of Arizona that's still unsolved. Let's talk about what happened to Mercedes Vega. On April 16th of this year, Mercedes was abducted from the parking garage of her Tempe, Arizona apartment and brutally killed.
Damn.
That night, security footage shows her walking into her apartment's parking garage a little after 9 p.m. She was on her way to meet her friends and have a fun night at Dave & Buster's, but in this footage, she had no idea what was about to happen to her. Sometime before making it to her car, she was attacked and taken by at least 2 people, and the details that follow are still a mystery. A little after 1 a.m. the next morning, the Department of Public Safety was called in to investigate a car that was on fire along the side of Interstate 10 in Tonopah. Upon arriving to the scene, they found Mercedes' burned body in the back seat, and she was deceased. In the last few hours of her life, she was tortured, and according to the medical examiner, she had been shot in the arm, had blunt force trauma to her head, and had traces of bleach in her throat. But all of this did not kill her. She ultimately died from smoke inhalation while being burned alive in that car. Investigators also found gloves and bleach in the front seat and lighter fluid in the back, but there are still a ton of questions that remain in this case, and nothing about this makes any sense. The car that Mercedes was found in was not her car. Her car, which was a 2019 Dodge Charger, was found abandoned near Mill Avenue in Tempe. She was not burned in her own vehicle, and so far, investigators still don't know who the car she was found in belongs to. One of the big questions in this case is how did her car get from her apartment to where it was found? And who drove the other car to Tonopah? Mercedes' parents believe that this was a targeted attack and that death wasn't the ultimate goal, but that Mercedes fought back, which resulted in her death. Her parents mentioned that she danced at a club 2 nights a week, and many question if her death could possibly be connected back to someone she met while at work. It's now been 7 months, and Mercedes' murder is still unsolved. Whoever committed this vicious attack is still out there. Right now, there is a silent witness award of up to $2,000 for information leading to an arrest. But if you'd like to donate to up that reward or to report a tip, please contact the number on the screen. For more information on this case and to show your support, please follow this account that was created for Mercedes that's run by her family. She and her family deserve justice.
How did it go that long without being unsolved? These unsolved cases. Just mind-blowing. Truly. She had to go through, man. Man. Seekers, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, tell me down below, guys, if you guys like my new reacting style. Try to save my thoughts until after the video plays. I'm pausing way less. I know you guys noticed that. Trying to upgrade these thumbnails for you guys, man. I'm really trying to put my all into this, man. I know we can just grow this channel and grow our community together, so I greatly appreciate the support. Make sure you guys to follow me on my social medias down below. Guys, are catching the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, seekers. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. What we do is, man, we break down scary and creepy videos from different parts of the internet, man. From YouTube videos to TikTok videos, Facebook reels, man. Anything weird, creepy, unusual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's been tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, man, and hitting that like button, spreading the word about the channel. Really appreciate that, man. Like I said, we making these small, intimate changes onto the channel. Like I said, iron out the kinks, but we're gonna get this right. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Seek the truth.
Jade Jinx. On December 31st, 2020, Jade was cleaning her stepfather's house when she found her own photos on his computer. Her stepfather, Tom Merriman, was at the doctor's when she found out, and she picked him up and then took his life. These nudes were taken about 10 years ago by her boyfriend at the time, and she has no idea how her stepfather got a hold of these photos. Prosecutors believe that Jade drugged Tom first, and then she strangled him in her car after she picked him up from his appointment. She then tried to bring Tom into his house using a wheelchair, but he fell onto the driveway, and since she couldn't pick him back up, she just piled boxes on top of him to hide him from neighbors. Jade has maintained her innocence and says that she did not murder Tom and that she found him like that, but she panicked and that's why she never called for help. Although Jade does claim that growing up, her stepfather was very inappropriate with her and she felt manipulated by him, but she never told anyone. Investigators did find a lot of evidence against Jade, and one of these things were that she texted two people telling them that she did murder Tom.
4K.
Jade was eventually convicted of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 25 years.
Gotta watch who you be around, man.
I'm not even cool. I'm just one of those girls that can do a lot of drugs and not die.
This is Mackenzie Sharilla, a TikToker who killed her boyfriend and his friend in 2022. So as you saw in that TikTok video, Mackenzie was bragging about her drug use. So in July of 2022, Mackenzie was in her car with her boyfriend and his friend, Dominic and Davian, and they were all just having a fun night smoking pot. That is, until Mackenzie, who was driving, decided to suddenly accelerate to 100 miles per hour in the vehicle. And she slammed the car into the brick wall of a warehouse going 100 miles an hour with no attempt made to hit the brakes. It's unknown exactly how Mackenzie survived this insane car crash, but like I said before, both other passengers, her boyfriend and his friend, died at the scene. Recently though, Mackenzie was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison for these deaths. That's because the prosecutors argued that Mackenzie actually set out to murder her boyfriend after their fling fizzled out. And she decided that the best way to do this would be a car crash. And her boyfriend's friend, Dominic, just ended up being cargo. I think, once again, this is just an example of how someone can seem so normal on the internet, but you have no idea who they are or what they're capable of. But thankfully, she faced massive repercussions for her actions here, and she's going to be in prison for a long time and have a lot of time to think about the terrible decisions she made.
I've said it a couple of times on our videos to get to see this, man. Like, you truly never know. I learned since I started doing this internet stuff, man. It's like, it's a perception, because once you hit that stop recording button and you really don't know what's going on behind the scenes. She's talking about she can do all that stuff and it won't affect her. And look what happened at the end, man. Every action has a reaction, man.
7th, I'll never forget, January 7th, I couldn't sleep. So I was up until 2 in the morning. And I swear to God, I am not making this up. At 2 in the morning, I broke out in tears. I was just crying uncontrollably. And I called the nurse in and I told her, I miss my mom, I miss my mom. I love my mom, I want to go home to my mom. Turns out she ended her life.
Was it around that time that...
Yeah. That's why I always say that it was really January 8th that she died, not the 7th, because I just have this feeling that it was
Did you guys hear there's another killer on the run? This right here is Christopher Haynes, and on Wednesday morning he was arrested for the killing of Brent Hayward that happened in a Plainsville, Virginia gas station back on August 12th. Shortly into questioning him, he started complaining of ankle pain, so they took him to the ER to be checked out. While they were there, they were exchanging the handcuffs, basically undoing them from his wrists, and they were going to do one of them from his wrist to the gurney. And during that process, when he wasn't actually hooked up to anything, he made a run for it. Here's a picture of him from the surveillance. Now, at one point, I guess he still had a red shoe on the foot that wasn't injured, but he obviously kicked it off somewhere. Okay, so as you can see, he's a black man. He has shoulder-length dreadlocks and a Washington Nationals tattoo right here on the front of his neck. He may be wearing a black shirt, gray shorts. He kicked the red shoe off, but he does have a black handcuff hanging from one of his wrists. And the DC Metropolitan Police have announced a $25,000 reward for information leading to his capture. You guys, this guy is really dangerous. He has a lengthy rap sheet, including assault and battery against law enforcement. And like I said, he killed somebody. He was last seen at the George Washington University Hospital in Washington, D.C. And I'm telling you right now, as a nurse with 12 years of experience, I have had tons of inmates over my time, and there are always 2 officers present with the inmate at all times, especially for a charge this serious, and they never unhook them until they are already hooked to the other thing. So I don't understand how this has happened. I know it's being investigated, but policies obviously were not followed through on. Anyway, that's it for now. I will keep everybody updated, and of course, if you live in that area, be on high alert.
How did they be escaping like that, man? Like she said, there's supposed to be 2 officers present. People ain't following through their job.
A Hooters employee put wings in her pants. This happened in Houston, Texas, when 24-year-old Jessica Sinclair was caught by one of her co-workers dipping hot wings in her pants before serving customers. So before I continue with the story, I wanted to let you guys know that if you search this case online, you're gonna find a whole bunch of photos of this girl who is not Jessica Sinclair, but the internet used her photo from a previous incident for this case. Anyways, when this girl was caught, she was taken into custody and she told authorities some disturbing details. This is a little TMI, but apparently the Hooters employee did this while she was on and off her menstrual cycle. Her excuse was that she did this to customers who were rude to her or commented on her appearance. Her family came forward and said that she suffers from mental health issues and that she's been in jail quite a few times. The fact that she not only tampered with food, but bodily fluids were also involved, she does potentially face 10 to 20 years in prison.
That makes me not even want to check out every food man I get when I go out now. You never know what be going through these people's minds, man. That's why I say, always don't be rude to your server. This is a sign right here.
Lasted for a long moment where I said, this is the part of the story where they are going to rip me apart, dissect me to see what I eat. There came a day, it was just a trickle, and I was walking on the rocks, and the Andes Mountains were in front of me, and all of a sudden I saw smoke around the next bend. But like, my spine is reacting right now as I talk about it, because I knew what I was going to see. I went around the bend, and I see a few naked people on the beach, and they see me, and we're like a good distance apart. They're on the other side of the river, you know, arrow in hand, bow in hand. They're looking at me, they're clearly conversing, and that moment lasted for a long moment where I said, this is the part of the story where they are going to rip me apart, dissect me to see what I eat. I mean, every other story in the region that we've heard, that's the ending of it. If you're alone with these people, it's not gonna go well. And I had nothing to defend myself with. And I turned and I ran for like 3 hours, and I got in the river and I swam for a while, and all my food got wet. And yeah, it took me like a week to get back to town. And again, the things you learn in these moments.
This incest case between father and daughter is seriously disturbing. But let's start from the beginning. In 1995, Steve Plaid was 21 years old, and he would meet a girl on the internet named Alyssa. The pair would start dating, and Alyssa would give birth to this girl. Now, Alyssa and Steve were very poor. They knew at their ages they were going to have a lot of trouble just making ends meet. So they decided to give the baby up for adoption. And she was given to a lovely family, and by all accounts, she had a very happy childhood. Now, Steve and Alyssa continued their relationship, and when Katie became 18 years old, she decided to contact her biological parents. And she got along with them really well. Against the will of her adopted family, Katie decided to move in with her biological parents. And according to Alyssa, Steve's behavior the day she moved in drastically changed. He was suddenly taking care of his appearance, going to the gym, and spending a lot of time with Katie. A few months after Katie moved in, she would suddenly become pregnant. And yes, it was her father. So Steve and Alyssa would get separated, and Steve would actually try and marry Katie. But eventually he was arrested for incest. Katie and her baby would move back in with her biological parent. Now, this story has a sad ending. Now, when Katie moved back with her biological parents, she decided to end things with Steve. Steve would eventually be released from prison. He would grab a gun and shoot Katie and her biological dad. Then Steve would turn the gun on himself. If you want to hear more crime stories, remember to hit that plus button.
It's a sick story.
Here in Tel Aviv, following the unprecedented terror attack by Hamas militants and Israel's declaration of war for the first time in 50 years. Israel's military is bombarding Gaza with airstrikes raining down on Hamas, including command centers located inside apartment buildings. More than 1,500 people have been killed. Tonight we are learning at least 900 Israelis dead. Tonight Hamas claims they are holding at least 100 people hostage, including an unknown number of Americans. At least 11 Americans are among the dead.
What the hell?
We have also learned that one of the victims is Deborah Matthias, and we're going to hear from her father in just a few moments. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressing the nation, saying today Israel didn't start this war, but Israel will finish it. Tonight, the military is preparing for a likely ground invasion of Gaza, with reports of fighting on Israel's northern border as well. That is significant. President Biden declared his unwavering support for Israel, and he's sending U.S. ships closer to the region in response to the attack.
A 5-year-old girl has been killed at a homeless camp after being kicked out of her family's home. Last Monday, authorities responded to a 911 call for an injured girl at a Topeka gas station. They were at the scene in less than 2 minutes, but tragically, Zoe Felix was pronounced deceased at 6:39 p.m. It was reportedly clear she had been assaulted and murdered, with the investigation immediately moving over to a nearby field or homeless camp. As we now know, just a few weeks ago, the 5-year-old was kicked out by her mother. So were other family members and a family friend named Michael Cherry, who Zoe was then forced to live with in a tent at the camp. Michael ultimately took her life there and has since been charged with her murder. According to Zoe's old neighbors, she wasn't enrolled in school this year, and they had taken care of her needs for food, clothing, and bathing. They contacted CPS countless times about the house being covered in dog feces and having no power, but nothing was done. As for Zoe's mom, she was placed on probation in November after driving under the influence with Zoe in the car and then injuring her in a car accident. Police have responded to 23 calls at her home in the past 2 years, with the most recent being September 5th for a child living without any utilities. It was less than a month before Zoe was killed, and somehow it was decided that all was well. Today, people everywhere are protesting for Zoe, as this couldn't have been more preventable. The GoFundMe has since been disabled, as the funeral home has offered to pay for the service, but there are petitions you can sign in hopes of some justice and accountability in this case.
Israel has currently been...
There was reports at the reports, man. There were a ton of calls to help her out, and look what happened. People need to freaking... They need to be able to. They need to do their jobs, man. Follow up. You never know what can happen.
Under attack by a terrorist organization called Hamas for the past few days, and it seems like end-time Bible prophecy is unfolding before our very eyes. Iran recently ordered Hamas to invade Israel, and this organization has already slaughtered 250 innocent civilians, as well as leaving another 1,500 injured. Hamas has been recognized across the world as a terrorist organization, as they are heavily influenced by Islamic ideologies. Unfortunately, this type of behavior is taught in the Quran. In Surah Al-Ma'idah 533, it says this: the punishment of those who wage war against Allah and His Messenger and strive to make mischief in the land is only this, that they should be murdered or crucified, or their hands and their feet should be cut off from opposite sides, or they should be imprisoned. This shall be as a disgrace for them in this world, and in the hereafter they shall have a grievous chastisement. If you ever notice why Islamic groups are usually involved in acts of violence, it is because someone who does not believe in Islam is commanded to be annihilated due to their belief system being known as causing mischief in the land, and that is exactly what their goal is in this invasion of Israel. This ties very heavily into end-time prophecy, because the Middle East and Israel are huge end-time components that require heavy conflict with each other in order for the Antichrist to be revealed. The Bible states the Antichrist will end the conflict in Israel with her Middle Eastern neighbors, and people will have peace and security, but it is merely another tactic to bring the beast system into fruition.
Damn. A lot of information was given.
Celebrities rotting in prison in 2023. Ryan Grantham is best known for playing Rodney James in Diary of a Wimpy Kid in 2010. But these days he is rotting in prison for ending his mother's life. On March 21st, 2020, he walked up to her as she was playing the piano and discharged his weapon. He had plans to carry out an attack at his old university and to take down the Prime Minister, but he changed his mind and turned himself in. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and received 14 years to life. He will be eligible for parole in 2034 when he is 36 years old. Ash Armand was a series regular on the Showtime reality show Gigolos for 4 seasons until it ended in 2016. Fast forward to July 2020, Armand's friend Herline Dulai came over to watch Avatar. The next day he would call 911 because Dulai was unresponsive. He told the operator, "There was a struggle and I temporarily lost my mind." Paramedics would arrive and pronounce Dulai dead at the scene. When one of the first responders asked how she got her injuries, Armand responded, "She attacked me and I attacked her." Armand was arrested and charged with murder. In September 2021, he pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 8 to 20 years in prison.
You are not going to believe it, folks.
All these people, man, in freaking Hollywood, all have these like dark backstories, man. Especially the Diving Wimpy Kid one. I didn't even realize that until he said it, because I said I know I've seen him in something. These classic kid movies and stuff. They're not the same once you know the history behind them. Seekers.
In the biggest case that we're tracking across the country, out in Moscow, Idaho, the mass murder of those 4 1,000% innocent college students from the university. The defendant, today they file an actual alibi. Filing where he was at the time of the murders.
Not guilty. What the fuck?
Accused murderer has long had a habit of going for drives alone. Often he would go for drives at night. He did so late on November 12th and into November 13th, 2022. The accused mass murderer is not claiming to be at a specific location at a specific time. At this time, there's not a specific witness to say precisely where the accused mass murderer was at each moment of the hours between late night November 12th, 2022 and early morning November 13th, 2022. He was out driving during the late night and early morning hours, November 12th to 13th of 2022. All night, just driving.
That doesn't even sound right.
Wow. So we all know
he summed it up for us.
Confessed to the heartbreaking act of taking the lives of his 3 sons, Clayton, Hunter, and Chase, all with a rifle. However, in a recent court proceeding, he entered a plea of not guilty to the 21 charges laid against him. Despite his plea, the judge ordered Dorman to be held without bail while awaiting a pretrial hearing on July 5th. The prosecutor shared more details in court on what happened at Dorman's home in Monroe Township on June 15th. According to Clermont County Prosecutor Mark Ticovey, the brutal act started inside the home. Dorman shot his 4-year-old Hunter twice. After this, he walked outside and shot 7-year-old Clayton while the boy was trying to escape. Clayton was wounded after being shot from behind. Ticovey said Dorman then walked up to him and shot him 2 more times. He then ripped 3-year-old Chase from his mother's arms and shot him. After the court session, Ticovey said he wants to see Dorman get the death penalty. I can only imagine the terror these little boys felt and experienced as their father, their protector, was murdering them, Ticovey said. He continues on to say, unfortunately, their mother saw this. You can imagine the immense trauma and terror that she experienced, and we will do the utmost in my office to see this defendant never sees the light of day again. Many people in the community agree with Ticovey. School bus driver Kelly Day said, if there's ever a crime that deserves the death penalty, this will definitely be the crime. A local man, Chuck Hanna, added, Dorman definitely deserves the death penalty, no questions asked. However, if Dorman is found guilty and given the death penalty, the execution system in Ohio has been extremely slow in recent years. The last person to be executed in Ohio was in 2018. This is because the previous governor, Mike DeWine, was against the death penalty and drugs used for execution became hard to find. Defense attorney Mark Crumbian says that the situation could change in the future. He noted there could be another governor in the future that might say, hey, let's speed things up. New drugs that cause people to die that are more accessible, some of the problems could end. From being said regardless of final execution, Dorman would remain on death row if sentenced. It's still in effect, he said, and it's still the law in Ohio. Dorman was charged with 3 counts of aggravated murder after confessing. Then, a week after the shootings, a Clermont County grand jury added more charges. They added a 21-count indictment against Dorman.
This is the Hello Kitty murder case, one of the most disturbing murders you will ever hear about. This is Fan Man Yi, the Hello Kitty murder victim. On March 17th, 1999, Fan was abducted by 3 men and a girl at her flat. The group then took her to an apartment where they imprisoned her for a month. The apartment was rented out by one of the killers, and they intended to make money off Fan by pimping her out to other men. During her imprisonment, she was tortured and raped, and according to one source, she was beaten up with metal bars and sometimes while being strung up and used as a punching bag. On one occasion, Fan was kicked in the head around 50 times. Spices were rubbed into Fan's wounds, her legs and feet were burned with candle wax, and hot plastic so she was unable to walk. She was forced to consume human feces and urine, and she was also forced to smile and say she enjoyed her beatings. And if she refused, they subjected her to even harsher torture. This treatment eventually led to traumatic shock and ultimately her death. Fan succumbed to her wounds between April 14th and April 15th, 1999. Some sources claim that she died while her captors were out, while others say she died overnight. Upon discovering her body, Fan's captors dismembered and boiled her remains. Her skull was sewed into a Hello Kitty doll filled with dead insects while the rest of her body was discarded. That is the picture of the Hello Kitty doll they used. And while this photo was taken, her skull was inside of it. Only her skull, one tooth, and some internal organs were recovered in a plastic bag. All 3 killers were sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 20 years. They are currently serving their life sentences as we speak. Fan Man Yi's captors treated her like she was nothing and degraded her so much. This case completely shocked Hong Kong and anybody else who ever read about it. This case just doesn't sit right with me, especially with what they did after they killed her. They literally just dismembered her entire body and placed her head in a Hello Kitty doll. I feel so bad for her family, and may Fan Man Yi rest in peace.
Definitely saw something sticking out. I was like, what the heck? Can't believe they just put her whole body in a Hello Kitty doll, man. What does the world be coming to nowadays? It happened a while ago, but that's a bone-chilling story, Seekers. Truly, man. If you guys stayed with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, hit that post notification bell, man. Like I said, we can stay connected. We can grow the seekers together, man. Also, like I said, follow me on my social medias down below, man, so we can all stay together, man. I really appreciate the support. Tell me how you guys liking these new past videos, man. I'm really uploading this my new layout and stuff for you guys. Always trying to improve the channel. Tell me what I can do better. I'm always looking to improve. I'm out. Peace, YouTube. What's up, seekers? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, man. From YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG videos, Facebook, man. Anything weird, usual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. As you guys can see, man, we're going to be checking out some creepy TikTok videos for you guys today, man. Doing what we do best. Let's seek the truth.
So are we about to witness and hopefully live through a world-ending geomagnetic storm? And will it be a repeat of the Carrington event? Welcome back to the Hard Pill Show. I'm your host, Pharaoh. And in this video, we're going to talk about how this current geomagnetic storm could have bad implications.
Alright.
Now let me start out that this will most likely just be a loss of phone signal and pretty lights in the sky event. But let's get into why this can be something scary. So yesterday, Thursday the 9th, and today, Friday the 10th, there have been many corona mass ejections from the sun. NOAA released a statement and a warning stating that at least 2 X-class, which are the largest
solar flares
Ooh.
were observed releasing from two massive sunspots in the sun, along with several M-class. Now, these are CMEs, or corona mass ejections, and there was another X-class release this morning, Friday the 10th. That CME from this morning is supposed to catch up with the other 5 from yesterday, right as they impact Earth. It's all scary stuff, and what has people up in arms and concerned about this is the last time something like this happened, the Carrington event occurred. The Carrington event was known as the most destructive CME, and it happened on September 1st, 1859. It was so intense that it created such bright auroras in the sky, you know, the northern lights, that some gold miners in the Rockies woke up thinking that it was morning. But the reason why this event was documented and is such a callback point to future destructive potential of the sun is the fact that the potential EMP that was created by the sun during this event fried all the telegraph poles and systems. Now, at that time, that was the means of communication across long distance, and was also really all the electronics that the world really had. So the concern today, in today's world, is if that kind of event occurred again, which is the concern with this current, geostorm, with how heavily our modern world is dependent on electronics for communication, for transportation, for food, for survival, then we would be thrown back thousands of years as a humankind because we depend so heavily on electronics. So, yeah, but most likely we'll just lose phone signal and have pretty lights in the sky. Good times. Friday.
What do you guys think, man? That video, man, just shows us how much we're dependent on, man, technology. And if it's just can get taken out like that, we all discombobulated. We're all over the place, man. I'm surprised this Geostorm, like these facts, hasn't been on the news or something so people could prepare. Wonder why that is.
8 o'clock Eastern time, it is an important update. The geomagnetic storm has just reached Category 5, a G5 with a K index of 9. It's the strongest geomagnetic storm in 20 years.
Damn.
What you're looking at right here, if I get off out of the way, is the actual auroral oval right now. It's all the way down to the central United States. You can see it right there. And that's almost down, as a matter of fact, as far south as St. Louis and Washington, D.C. I mean, really amazing. Now, it has to be clear, and of course it's getting dark right now, but definitely head away from city lights, look to the north tonight. This could be one of your few chances in your lifetime at these latitudes to be able to see the aurora borealis, but get to dark skies. This map actually confirms what we saw just a moment ago. This is typically what you'd see. Down to the red line is where you'd be able to see an aurora when you have a G5 storm like this, which extends from, around Norfolk, Virginia, westward to Northern California. And you can see it just amazingly how far south it is compared to normal. I mean, if it's just a regular geomagnetic storm, it would be all the way up here in the northern tier of the United States to northern Maine, and it's nowhere like that. So definitely try to get out tonight, look to the north. Yeah, there will be some communication problems and things like that, but let's concentrate on the aurora right now because that's the fun part of these geomagnetic storms. Good luck tonight.
The strongest solar storm to strike Earth since 2005 is on its way tonight. Because of that, NOAA did issue a geomagnetic storm watch for the planet Earth. This is due to a G4 class solar storm, which is severe on the scale. Now, some of the effects that we might see from this tonight are possible voltage issues to the power grid up north. Disruptions are possible to satellite navigation as well. And auroras could be possible all the way down to the Gulf Coast tonight, especially on the horizon. If you want to have a good shot at seeing this, you are going to have to get out of areas of light pollution and also use a camera as well to see it best on the horizon. Now, if you really want to see it tonight, you're going to have to go north up into places like South Dakota, Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, and especially up into Canada.
Really?
If you guys haven't heard yet, there's signal issues going on. There's a geostorm affecting everybody. It doesn't matter if you're on RTK, WAS, Trimble, Egg Leader, Deer. Everything's getting knocked out. A couple of geese here.
Even the geese getting affected.
If you guys have questions, you can call us, but I'm sure everyone's being affected, so I just wanted to let everybody know.
The thing that's getting to me is, man, we haven't been seeing this like on the news and stuff, man. It's like the geomagnetic storms and stuff. Everybody just they're focusing on the lights, but they just like kind of ignoring the possibilities of what could happen. That's concerning. These geomagnetic storms. When I looked up, I'm about to say I looked up in the sky at night and I ain't seen no aurora lights. Now that's a rare opportunity. Maybe you guys saw, because we all over the place now. I've been seeing from the comments. So tell me if you guys been affected by this G5 storm. Whoa. Another one?
Hey guys, they are forecasting that we will see some additional geomagnetic activity about midday today, May 12th. So they are forecasting that it'll be somewhere between the G4 to G5 severe status. So be on the lookout, guys.
This Geostorm, man. It's affecting it. It's affecting everything, bro. That's why I'm tapped in with the TikToks, man. I would have never known. But has it been on the news or something, man? I'm glad for our community seekers. It keeps me tapped in.
They had a machine that was used to control the weather. Then somehow the machine got hacked and it started malfunctioning. And it started controlling the weather on its own will. And it started killing people. So they had to destroy the machine because they had got hacked and started malfunctioning, being out of control.
And there's a movie called Geostorm. Is that a sign? Is there any correlation between those two? Any similarities? Hey, man. Nowadays, you never know. That Geostorm, like I said, that was a movie that came out. And we guys been, these videos, you've been seeing how these movies and stuff, they're based off like true events. Sometimes even these fictional movies behind the scenes, man, like every stories, every movie, every piece of media you see, man, it comes from a true story somewhere around the world. What do you guys think? If you guys made it with me to the end, you guys are real ones supporting the channels. I really appreciate that, man. You're a true seeker. So thank you, man. Like I said, guys, if you guys want to stay tapped in with the community with us, man, follow me on all my social medias down below. I'm really trying to get my numbers up on there as well. So I greatly appreciate the support, just so we can, stay in contact with each other and we can grow and we can share what we find together. Guys, gonna catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, seekers. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos, man. On the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG Reels, Facebook, man. Anything weird, usual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Like I said, I want to thank you guys, the seekers who's tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, hitting that like button, man. I really appreciate your support. Like I said, you guys have been seeing, guys kind of want me to switch it up, man. If you guys want me to switch it up, send you guys videos like to my Instagram, Twitter, man, anywhere where I can try to download them, put them in the next video. I would really appreciate that. But that's what we do best. Seek the truth.
Unusual deaths in 2022. Just a few weeks ago, a 32-year-old man named Khalil Kimi was swimming at a pool party in Israel when all of a sudden a sinkhole opened up under the water, causing him to be dragged inside and sucked to his death. On January 5th, a personal trainer named Tom Mansfield died after ingesting an amount of pre-workout equivalent to 200 cups of coffee. The father of two reported that his heart started beating extremely fast and he was foaming at the mouth before he died just minutes later. The following day, on January 6th, a 16-year-old boy named Teddy Balkin was playing a JV hockey game when he fell to the ground and collided with another player. His neck was then slit by the boy's hockey skate and he died later in emergency surgery.
Hockey, man, dangerous sport, bro. Risking your life.
I had to get myself up and out of bed for this because I'd never heard of this case before. Welcome to Creep Time on
On TikTok with Celestine, these are the 13 unaccounted minutes before Patrice Andreas went missing. On April 15th of 2004, Patrice, who's a local salon owner in Georgia, walks into her shop and finishes her last client at exactly 11:37 a.m. Another client then calls the shop at 11:50, to which there's no answer, which is very unlike Patrice. In that 13-minute window, something happens in that salon where Patrice goes missing. The next client comes in to find the shop empty, and police are called to the scene, which is eerily undisturbed. Aside from some missing money in the register, there's nothing that's out of place, there's no sign of a struggle, even her lunch is still sitting there warmed up. But two separate witnesses would come forward to report passing the salon within that time frame. Both witnesses come forward to report seeing a light blue sedan parked out front and two unidentified women standing next to it. One of the women was described as tall with dark hair and the other short with light hair. These eyewitness accounts mark one of the only insights as to what happened in those 13 minutes. After 20 months of searching, her remains are finally found at the bottom of a ravine, but the manner of death is unknown. Initially, her husband is suspected to be involved as maybe a jealous spouse, but a scrutinizing investigation would rule him out. She leaves behind her 15-year-old son at the time, who till this day continues to search for answers as to what really happened to his mom on April 15th. So what are your theories as to those 13 unknown minutes?
It's kind of scary, man, how like that small amount of unaccounted time led to somebody's demise. Make sure you're having to be aware of everything, man, even the minute details. Like I said, if it wasn't for those two people, eyewitnesses checking out that pulled up that blue sedan, they wouldn't have had nothing.
Creepy facts that you shouldn't read. Your mind gets sense when someone is staring at you even when you're asleep, which explains why you randomly wake up during the night. Spirits are more active at night and mostly exist in air-conditioned rooms. They look and stare at you at night. They read your mind and try to speak and show your future dreams. Follow if you're scared.
Interesting, spooky facts. You guys believe that fact?
Videos that seem innocent but actually have a terrifying backstory. This video shows a man playing Dance Dance Revolution while some teens unknowingly record him and make fun of him. 6 months after this video was taken, this man, Adam Lanzo, would shoot his own mother 4 times in the head while she's sleeping, then drive to Sandy Hook Elementary School where he'd murdered 23 people. This video shows magician Tommy Cooper having a heart attack while on live TV. The audience, as well as his assistant, thought it was part of the show, so they laughed along while he died on stage. This video shows a popular CSGO streamer showing off his new McLaren. However, he was banned a week later for hacking, and this caused him to have a mental breakdown. So he purposely crashed his car into a van, killing himself, a mother, and her child. This video shows a band performing minutes before the venue burnt down and killed everyone inside. Even creepier, the band's name was Burn.
Damn, that's a freaking scary coincidence. All those creepy facts, man. It's like these pictures and videos, they have dark backstories you never know until you find out. Can't judge a book by its cover, that's what they say.
A 20-year-old cold case has had a major breakthrough after an eerie twist led to police identifying a teenage girl's remains. Midtown Jane Doe was found mysteriously entombed in cement in a former New York hotspot during construction in 2003. Investigators believe she was fatally strangled, bound with electrical wire, and wrapped in a carpet before being cemented into the building's basement. Now, Midtown Jane Doe has been identified as Patricia Kathleen McGlone, a girl from Brooklyn who was last seen in the late 1960s. DNA from a woman killed in the 9/11 attacks, also named Patricia, helped authorities identify the girl, as the two were related.
This is the devastating case of Kylie Rodney. On August 6, 2022, 16-year-old Kylie went missing at Prosser Family Campground in Truckee, California. Kylie attended a school party with more than 100 kids, but it's alleged that older people also showed up, which made a lot of the teens uncomfortable. Kylie texted her mom right before midnight and told her that she would be home in 45 minutes, but the following morning, Kylie's mother got super worried when Kylie was still not home. One of Kylie's friends said that she was with her the entire evening until she decided to go home at 12:20 a.m. Police searched Prosser Lake for more than 15 hours, but were unable to find Kylie's vehicle. But on August 21st, a group of divers who go by the name Adventures with Purpose
decided that they would help look for Kylie. It didn't take the group of divers much time to locate Kylie's car, only 14 feet underwater. The car was upside down and Kylie's body was inside. The investigation is still ongoing and the autopsy results have not been released yet. So what do you guys think happened to Kylie? Was this a tragic accident or was there foul play involved?
Definitely had to be foul play, something. All those people showing up to the party, she got uncomfortable.
Dark things that happen at Disney, part 23. I actually got a lot of messages asking me to cover this case. On December 3rd, Chris Christensen passed away after jumping from a parking structure outside of Disneyland. This is reportedly the area that he jumped from, and that's where he landed. You know, it's a very sad and tragic case. It breaks my heart. So according to the letter that Chris left, him and his wife Marlena got in a really bad fight. He said their marriage was perfect up until that fight. She accused him of being aggressive and physical with her and their kids. Although Chris claims that that's not what happened and those claims were false. As a result, he spent the night in jail and he pretty much lost his job of being a school principal. Chris said that he took his own life to escape his partner and these claims that she made up. It's a very touchy case. That's why I didn't really want to address it. But like I said, a lot of people told me to.
That one case, when anything that resolves Disney's now in the
Most
news, they always
unusual
seem to
deaths
be able
in
to
human
hide it.
history. Yuroko Onaja was in the middle of having sex with his 6th wife when his other wives caught him and became jealous. They forced him to do it with each of them and he stopped breathing before he could get to the 5th wife. A 32-year-old man from Florida, Edward Archibald, died from choking on arthropod body parts in a cockroach eating contest. When 25-year-old Salman Mirza met up with his ex-fiancée at a hotel in India, he realized that he didn't have protection. Salman then proceeded to seal up his pee-pee using a strong glue, causing him to die of organ failure. This past Halloween, a Brazilian man was fishing with his 2 friends when all of a sudden they were attacked by bees. The man attempted to escape by jumping into a nearby lake where he was attacked by piranhas and died. 42-year-old Tony Isles was in a McDonald's drive-thru when he dropped his credit card. He opened his door to retrieve it when his car rolled forward, pinning him between the door and the car, crushing him to death.
Crazy cases, man. You would never think in a million years that stuff like that would happen. There it is.
This is why you should never take walks alone at night. In 2007, a girl was on a late night walk when she looked at the end of the road and saw the silhouette of a man moving around very strangely. It was like he was doing the waltz, but he was moving towards her, so she was sketched out, crossed the road, and went the other way. After a couple minutes, she turned around to see what he was doing, and he was right across the street from her, now staring up into the sky with a huge grin on his face. Now totally creeped out, she turns around and walks about a half block before checking again, and to her horror, he's now crouched down right behind her. But luckily, he stands up, turns around, and kind of hobbles away, and then she notices something. The man had turned around and was now sprinting directly towards her. She runs to safety and now just hopes she never has to see that smiling man again.
The smiling man. It's that factor cap. That's scary.
Okay, these are terrifying facts to keep you up at night. Our
go.
first one is locked-in syndrome. And I hear you thinking, what is that? Well, locked-in syndrome is essentially sleep paralysis, but for comas. You could be put into a coma and have complete awareness of what's going on around you, but you can't move any of your limbs and you can't speak. People have described it as a living hell and the most terrible thing anyone can go through. How many of you are cat owners? Well, I hate to do this to you, but your furry best friend is not there for you. If you manage to die before your cat does, your cat will wait till you're dead and then begin to eat your body. And for this last one, I have to give you a warning. Because if you don't like rats, it's going to ruin your day. Go onto Google Images and search up rat game. Just look at it. And when you're done doing that, share this video with one of your friends to ruin their day.
I ain't doing that. Don't search up rat king, y'all.
I haven't covered many cases that deal with the paranormal on this account, but this is a story that stuck out to me. Welcome to Creep Time on TikTok with Celestine. This story is from a woman named Whitney Renibi. The story takes place in a rural part of Oklahoma, sometime between 2019 or maybe early 2020. One night while her mother is just sitting in the living room just browsing through old photos on her phone, she comes across 3 pictures that startle her. On her camera roll were these 3 photos taken within minutes of each other around 3 in the morning just a few days prior. One is of her husband sleeping, one is of her daughter sleeping, and then one is of herself. She realized that no one else in the house had taken any of these photos, nor did her family have a history of sleepwalking. This is a family that has 5 dogs in the house, all of which tend to bark with strangers, but there was no sound that night. Till this day, she has no idea who took these pictures or how they were able to do so without disturbing the house or the dogs. The photos are a haunting mystery, leaving the family with one question: who took these pictures?
Who took the pictures, y'all? They snuck in with no detection.
Let's talk about skinwalkers. They are said to be powerful witches and medicine men. They can even change their form to any animal they desire, including humans. But they mainly change into deer, wolves, and coyote. You know, dragon fruit ain't that good. The scary part is they say if you see one, they can steal your face and even your last scream for help. You might think this is like a folklore or a tale. People actually believe these are real. The scary part is there's actual videos of people seeing oddly walking humans screaming help in the middle of nowhere.
The skinwalker though?
See, they say skinwalkers pretend to be humans in distress, and if they're calling out for help, they're just trying to lure you in. Ashley! That's when they take your life and use your voice and your look to catch their next gullible victim. A man's wife wasn't even home, but yet somebody was calling him to come downstairs in his wife's voice.
Is that an edit, y'all? Is that legit? Don't trust it.
If you want me to go out in the middle of the field, at least shapeshift into like Rihanna or Beyonce. I'm making a mess, but this look good. I'll be there in a minute. 30 seconds flat. Naked. Very naked. Maybe even Lizzo. Let's light this candle.
What the? Skinwalkers, man. Should we check that out? I've seen a couple of videos, man. I haven't deep dived into it yet. Edit. Gotta call it like I see it, man.
This is the Pitbull video, one of the hardest cartel execution videos to watch explained. The video that I'm about to explain is extremely graphic and I don't recommend searching for it.
I won't.
The video begins with a man lying on his back on the ground and 2 men are holding his legs open. He's being restrained. And in total, there's 5 perpetrators and 1 victim. And also 2 pit bull dogs. Apparently, this is the victim's punishment for allegedly doing something with a kid or to a kid. The victim is naked, and at the start of the video, the dog has done most of the work. The dog already ripped off the man's privates, and it's just a bloody mess. The dog continues to rip pieces of flesh off of where his privates used to be, and the victim is being held down, and he is also gagged so he can't scream. But sometimes the gag came loose, and at this point you could hear the man scream in pain. The victim was even talking, but I couldn't translate it, but that means he was completely conscious during this, which I can't even imagine the pain. As a man, this might be one of the worst videos out there. Funky Town is bad, Ghost Rider is bad, but as a man, I can't imagine anything more painful than a pit bull ripping off your junk while you're still alive. Not many people mention this video with the other disturbing ones, but it's definitely up there. There's not any information about the victim after the video. I don't know if he died, but it's safe to assume he did. He lost a lot of blood, and if a dog eats your privates, you will most likely get an infection and die from it. All in all, this video is very graphic, very real, and very disturbing. Please do yourself a favor and never go searching for this video, especially if you're a man.
I never search for those video seekers. Do y'all? Me personally, I don't.
Someone recently asked me what the strangest thing I've seen in a police file is, and I think I have an answer. It's this trash can. Let me explain. So this trash can was found in Joan R's house in 1961, immediately after she went missing. Her young daughter had gone to a neighbor's house and told the neighbor that mommy is missing and there's red paint all over the kitchen. And when the police got there, they saw that the red all over the kitchen was blood. But there were also a few really weird details like this trash can, so the police had no idea what had happened to Joan. So first and foremost is the fact that this trash can is just in the middle of the kitchen. Normally it was under the sink, but here it is, just in the middle of the kitchen for no reason. And then the content of the trash made no sense. So here is the phone receiver, which has been ripped from the wall. You can see in this photo here that the phone is still on the wall, but just the mouthpiece was ripped off. And then moved across the kitchen and neatly placed on the trash. And on the phone was a fingerprint they could never identify. People hypothesized that maybe someone was there, and when Joan went to call for help, they ripped the mouthpiece off. Then there was this beer. So Joan's husband was out of town when this happened, but when he came back, he said that no one in the house drank Miller High Lifes. He didn't drink it, Joan didn't drink it, the trash had been taken out since the last time people were over, but yet there's Miller High Life next to the trash. Joan disappeared that day and was never seen again, and these two little pieces right here are some of the only evidence that someone else may have been in the house. They don't know if she ran away on her own, if she was taken, or what. But the whole story is really wild, and I tell it all tonight on the episode. Also, merch goes live when the episode drops.
These are the world's most haunted dolls. Starting at number 4, Letta the doll, a 200-year-old wooden doll with human hair. She was discovered beneath a house in Australia. Carrie Walton, the caretaker of this doll, witnessed many strange things ever since he took her inside his home.
I don't know.
Marks on the floor, objects mysteriously moving, and strange noises at night. Number 3, Okiku. This doll was purchased by a young man in 1918 in Japan as a gift for his younger sister. Tragically, after a year, the little girl passed away from a severe case of the flu. Sometime later, the family noticed something off about the doll's hair. It was originally short, and it has grown past its shoulder. Until this day, the doll's hair is maintained on a regular basis because it never stopped growing. Number 2, Annabelle. Known for its infamous movie releases and stories with Ed and Lorraine Warren, we do know that this doll is possessed by something that is evil, and whoever held this doll suffered from many bad things. Therefore, the doll is now stored in the Warren Museum, safe and sealed. But Annabelle is not the most haunted doll.
What is it?
Because coming at number 1, Robert. Robert is not an ordinary doll. This thing is sinister. This doll is possessed by a demon, and it speaks to children. In Florida, in the early 1900s, this doll was gifted to a young boy named Robert Eugene, and his parents always used to hear Robert and his doll speak in the bedroom alone, and the family used to hear the voice of the doll respond. Eugene kept his doll till 1974 until he passed away at an old age. No one knew why this old man kept his doll for more than 70 years. After his death, Robert was given to the East Martello Museum. Visitors who have taken his picture without permission claim to have experienced terrible misfortune. If you visit Robert in the museum, you will see that this doll is surrounded by apology letters, and also other letters, like permission to look at him. And no one dares to take a picture of Robert.
Robert the doll. I'm gonna have to look that up, man. There were people that would definitely write letters saying how they were sorry taking pictures, videos of him without his permission. Some dark energy going on there. Edit.
This guy is the real Humpty Dumpty, and his story is much darker than you think. Deep in the eerie town of Puddlebrook, Kentucky, resided Gilbert Eggman, a man plagued by misfortune. His tale took a sinister turn when he joined the construction crew. Perched atop a towering brick wall on his very first day, 3 co-workers, fueled by malevolence, sent the ladder crashing down. Gilbert's pleas for help fell on deaf ears. Desperate to rescue him, the trio resorted to a crane. But destiny had other plans. The crane, guided by an unseen force, struck Gilbert, sending him hurtling to a grim demise. The town whispered of Gilbert's curse. In the following months, darkness consumed Puddlebrook. One by one, the 3 construction workers met their untimely ends, each death shrouded in mystery. Gilbert's curse, it seemed, had unleashed its wrath upon them, becoming an urban legend in the small town.
You won't believe what this person found on the dark web. The dark web refers to 80% of the internet that is not accessible through normal internet browsers. Here's why you should never go searching on there. This one person was searching around when they stumbled upon a live bid. Now, he didn't actually realize what they were bidding for, but he was watching it. When the bidding ended, it was revealed that it was for a woman tied to a chair. The winning bidder decided what happened to this girl. It ended up being a torture and murder live stream. To this day, it was never revealed who was behind this or who this poor girl was. That's really sad and messed up. But follow for more sad and messed up content, I guess. Also follow me on YouTube, link in bio.
Dark web, man. We've heard stories about that, but
this man has been sentenced to 100 years in prison after doing the unthinkable to his daughter. Tony Valles is a 66-year-old from Helena. On the 10th of July 2022, he was at home with his partner Heather. Tony's 8-year-old daughter Ariana and his 18-year-old son were also at the house at the time. Suddenly, 2 women entered the property who he believed were evicting him. He flew into a violent rage and grabbed a weapon from his bedroom. At this point, he began shooting. He shot Heather and she fell to the floor, and then he shot at his son. His 8-year-old daughter tried to escape and run from the terror, but she was hit with gunfire. She was on the stairs when she was hit by a bullet and she fell back. She tragically died after being rushed to hospital. After his daughter's death, Tony stated, "I'm sorry for all this. I can't undo what I've done. The pain and the misery will last a lifetime, and I'm sorry for all that." Tony was sentenced to serve 100 years in prison.
This is Mr. Swirl, one of the worst pedophiles in world history. And let me tell you, this story is really disturbing, so viewer discretion is advised. So this is Mr. Swirlface himself, Christopher Paul Neal. He was born in Canada in 1975. So Christopher had a pretty unremarkable childhood, but it should be stated here that he wanted to become a Catholic priest. But after the seminary denied him because he wasn't properly qualified, he decided to become a teacher instead. So Christopher eventually moved out of Canada. He moved to South Korea. That's where he was employed as a teacher. And suddenly, all of these images of CP started circulating around the internet. Christopher appeared in over 200 images of CP that he produced himself. And in every photo that he produced, he always put this swirly effect over his face, thinking that it would obscure his identity. Well, eventually German computer experts were able to unswirl the image. They produced this image to the left, and a number of people who knew Christopher contacted Interpol and told them, this is that guy. So once he was identified, Christopher fled to Thailand. That's where he decided he would make his great getaway. And while he was living in Thailand, he employed the services of a young boy who would go out to local internet cafes and bring Christopher other young boys that he would abuse and take photos of. But this didn't last long and obviously didn't work out for Christopher. In the year 2007, towards the end of the year, he was finally arrested by the Thai police. There's nothing that brings me more joy than seeing all these officers around this guy. And one thing that should be noted about Christopher is his unrepentant nature when he's photographed. You'll see what I mean. Pictures like these were taken by the press when he was finally arrested and brought to justice. So in Thailand, Christopher was sentenced to 39 months in prison and he was handed a $1,700 plus fine. But he later admitted to the crime, he was eventually released, and then he returned to Canada. Upon his return to Canada, he was immediately arrested at the Vancouver International Airport. Now, while Christopher was in Canada, CP was found on his phone and laptop. He was sentenced to a number of years in prison. But in March of 2017, Christopher was released from prison, and he now lives in Vancouver somewhere, according to the internet. That's right, Mr. Swirlyface is currently out on the streets. I didn't know this. I think this is an absolute injustice to all the victims of this guy. This is absolutely a horrific story, and I cannot believe he's not serving more time for appearing in over 200 images of CP. It's crazy. But yeah, let me know below. Do you think this guy should still be in prison? I'm also going to be starting a true crime series talking about murders, conspiracies, all of the above on my YouTube channel, The Paranormal Files, so go subscribe if you don't already. But yeah, this story is unbelievable and sickening.
Insane. Just roaming the streets.
6 days ago, I posted a video listing 8 horrifying facts about jinns. Number 2 from that list caught many viewers' attention. Let's have a look at that clip. Number 2, mythical creatures that we see in movies, such as dragons, mermaids, goblins, and trolls, are inspired by supernatural beings.
Really?
The jinns of the sky, the jinns of the sea, the jinns of the mountains, and the jinns of the caves. For hundreds of years, mythical creatures were always inspired by supernatural beings. Let's use mermaids as an example. In urban legends, mermaids are known to be sea creatures that lure sailors to their death by their enchanting voice. They are not as innocent and friendly as how movies make them seem. This is the only real video available online that could maybe prove a being of what seems to be a mermaid.
We got another one over here.
Alright.
What are those?
Whoa. Swimming side by side, something was weird. What the hell? This is all on 4K and this doesn't make national news or something?
What are those trails? Oh, it's something swimming fast underneath that water. Something swimming real fast underneath that water. I hear him. Where's he at? What the fuck is that noise, bro? What is that noise? Where are you?
Let's not forget the importance of oceans in the world of jinns. The most protected area in their whole world is on water. The throne of Iblis is on water. But the main question is, are these shape-shifting jinns half humanoids, half fish? Or do mermaids actually exist? Only God knows the answer.
Hit the nail on the head, man. What do you guys think? Like I said, half humanoid, mermaids, jinns. What do you guys think, man? But what he's saying was true, if you think about it, man. It's like every story, it takes inspiration from something, man. So these dragon mermaids or something, they had to originate from somewhere. We just truly don't know the origins behind it. That's why you gotta keep our mind open. YouTube, that's it, man, for this video for you guys today, man. If you guys enjoyed this video, could you guys do me a huge favor? Leave a thumbs up in this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell, man. Like I said, also, man, comment down below, guys, what you guys want to see next, man. Like I said, hope you guys been enjoying this new style and bring it to the channel. Talking less, pausing even way less, and just letting these videos play through. That's what you guys want. That's what I'm gonna do, man. And like you guys said, if you guys want me to switch up the videos, man, like I said, DM me the videos on Instagram, Twitter. That's why I said to follow me on there, so we can grow together, man. And I can get these videos out for you guys, man. What you guys want to see. You guys can catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace, seekers. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, man, and if you guys don't know what we do, we break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, man. From YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank you guys, man, who's been tapping into the channel, supporting. I've been seeing you guys' feedback, man. On the last video, you guys said you could kind of hear my chair squeaking. So as you guys can see, I replaced it. Got a new chair, so no more of that squeaking noises, man. Found this video for you guys today, seekers. Let's do what we do best. Seek the truth.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Part 27. This photo shows an elderly couple doing the hokey pokey with a man named Dennis Rader, also known as the BTK Killer. He installed alarms for a living, and ironically, many clients booked his services to prevent him from entering their homes.
Whoa.
This photo shows Luchadora Juana Barraza. She was sold to a man for 3 beers by her mother until her stepdad found her at age 17. Over the years that followed, she would strangle and rob over 45 old women that reminded her of her abusive mom. The man in the background is Christopher Wilde, aka the Beauty Queen Killer. This picture was taken on June 15th, 1984, and Chris is scouting future victims at a beauty pageant. This photo shows John Edward Robinson holding a baby girl named Tiffany. Just 1 day before this photo was taken, he murdered the baby's mother and gave Tiffany to his brother, saying that she was adopted. His brother, along with Tiffany, didn't find out the truth for 15 years.
Those photos telling the truth.
Crawler. It was taken by a family who caught him in their home in 1974, but he escaped shortly afterwards.
What?
So in 1974, the Johnson family in Cincinnati noticed a couple weird things happening in their home. The 14-year-old daughter, Claire, would complain about seeing glowing eyes outside of her window at night. And then one night, the youngest son, Timmy, was laying in bed in the dark when he felt the family dog jump up onto his bed. But when he went to go pet it, it was not the dog. It was the Crawler, who police still believe was responsible for the disappearance of 4 other boys in the area. Some believe that he was an escaped convict, while others actually believe that he was the victim of human experiments happening in the area that may have been conducted by the family's dad. Claire snapped this photo of him before he escaped, but he was never found since.
It sure looks like a human experiment. That's for sure. What do you guys think?
Nance, the man guilty of killing 8 people. 7 of those people were her family members, and 1 was a random stranger just minding his own business. For a total of 8 people dead in 3 separate locations.
3?
This happened in Joliet, Illinois. They thought all of these shootings were random at first, but one common thing was his red Toyota Camry with the same license plate at every single scene of the crime.
Targeted?
On Monday, officers announced that a manhunt was launched for Romeo Nance. They also put out a warning that he is armed and dangerous. However, later that night, the news definitely changed when they found this information out. Nance was spotted in Texas, over 1,200 miles away from Illinois. He died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was also charged with aggravated discharge of a deadly weapon against a woman a few years ago also. But he got out on bond in 2023. Many residents in the area were frightened by this. They all also thought this was a random string of crimes as well. Very unfortunate story. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. To kill 8 people, mainly family members, is just absurd. Very unfortunate loss of life. And reminder, these videos are for informational purposes only.
Blood-curdling facts
What was
that
the
you wish
purpose?
you never knew. Part 22. In the 18th century, you could bring your cat or dog to the London Zoo and actually pay your admission by feeding it to the lions.
What?
Bus seats are specifically designed so you can't tell how dirty they really are. When an octopus reproduces, it removes its penis and throws it at the female so she can impregnate herself, and then he grows back another one. Oysters are actually alive when they're served. They don't die until you eat them. In Australia, there's a plant called the gimbi, which has such a severe sting that when horses brush up against it, they actually throw themselves off a cliff because they would rather die than experience the pain. Live chat support agents can see what you type before they send it so they can reply quicker.
What the?
Spider rain, yes, you heard me right, is a real and naturally occurring phenomenon.
What creeped you out the most? What's up there? What the fuck?
We need to talk about one of the...
We saw that, right? We all saw that sequence. There was something that flashed, but they ain't see. You always gotta double check your work, man.
worst accidents that ever happened on a horror film set, because I don't really see this moment talked about much. So this accident happened on the set of The Exorcist, which is already a movie that plenty of people think was cursed, hence why I did a whole episode about it. But in the movie, Linda Blair plays this little girl named Reagan who was possessed by a demon. And the way that the film shows you that she's possessed are by these contraptions that they built for her. This is one that makes her levitate, but there was also this one that made her thrash around. To use this device, Linda had to be sewn into a plank, that way her back was supported while it was thrashing around. And mind you, the people controlling this device were adult men, and Linda was a child. So during one take, Linda actually became untethered from this device, meaning that her back was no longer supported. And you can see it in this take, but watch as she starts crying after the director calls cut. That's because Linda had just broken her spine. The director and the other adults in the room all thought that she was acting up a storm when in fact her screams and cries were from her spine being fractured. Anyways, that's only one of the many wild things that happened on this set, so check out the episode for more.
That's some bad energy on that movie.
is a 6-year-old Corey Macholo from New Jersey. On March 20th of 2021, Corey and his father, Christopher Greger, were seen entering the Atlantic Heights Clubhouse Fitness Center. Corey was placed on a treadmill and began running. Footage from the clubhouse captured Christopher walking up to the treadmill, increasing the speed and raising the incline.
Why?
These sudden changes were too much for Corey's legs, which caused him to fall down multiple times and slide off of the treadmill. Christopher is then seen lifting Corey up from the ground and tossing him back onto the treadmill. This caused Corey's legs to fold backwards, and then Christopher is seen clamping his teeth onto Corey's head. On April 1st, after Corey had so many bruises on his body, his mom urged his father to take him to a pediatric appointment, and at this appointment, Corey revealed that his father made him get on that treadmill because he was too fat. The next day, after Corey woke up from a nap, he felt nauseated, he was slurring his words, and he was stumbling. That is when Christopher took Corey to the hospital. Corey's injuries were so severe he had suffered a seizure during his CT scan. That day, just before 5 p.m., Corey was pronounced dead. An autopsy was done and it revealed that the reason why Corey had died was because of blunt force injuries. This included acute inflammation and sepsis. Christopher was initially charged with child neglect after the treadmill video came to light. However, in September of 2021, a forensic pathologist had determined that Corey's death was a homicide. This was due to chronic child abuse, blunt force injuries to his chest and abdomen, and a laceration to his heart. On March 9, 2022, Christopher was arrested on murder charges connected to Corey's death. He turned down a 30-year plea deal and now faces life in prison if convicted.
Here are a few of the worst submechanophobia images I've ever seen. Part 3. This is apparently real. I don't know where it is. Apparently it's in Italy, or it looks like it's in Italy. I might be completely making that up. But here's it from another angle. Could you imagine swimming in a boat and seeing that? I don't know how deep it is underwater. I don't know if it's held up by pipes. I don't know if it's held up by scaffolding. I don't know if it's just the whole arm. I don't know if it's a whole sculpture. Terrifying.
It is. I don't know how deep in water that is, like what she said. Just seeing hands out of nowhere, that would freak anybody out.
This very strange video is circling the internet. It was supposed to be this very strange phenomena happening in the middle of the ocean. A couple of people inside of a boat captured it on camera. I'm going to show you guys the entire video.
Okay.
Some people are relating this to underwater volcanoes, but I'm not exactly sure if this is the case. I'm going to show you guys the video. You tell me what you think is going on here. Check this out.
What are we seeing? What the hell is that?
Pay attention, look at the size of this thing.
That's what we're examining? Is that really an underwater volcano? It's just sprouting up? Why this ain't making national news or something?
Look at this over here.
That's concerning.
What's going on here, guys? What is your take?
What do you guys think? Down below.
Let's talk about this picture. This is why if I ever have kids, I'll never let them use the bathroom alone. A 7-year-old girl and her mom were headed to Target, and she was getting some clothes for school.
Okay.
Her mom also wanted to grab some snacks for movie night. So while her mom went to go grab popcorn and other snacks, she told her daughter to go pick out clothes for school. When her daughter finally finished and picked out the clothes, she went up to her mom and said something strange happened. A sad pale lady had came up to her, telling her that she wished she could have her own daughter that looked just like her. The mom, who thought the daughter was just joking around, laughed it off and said, "Let's go." While heading to the register, the daughter shook her mom and said, "That's the lady who told me she wanted a daughter just like me," pointing at a mannequin. The mom laughed, thinking the daughter was still being silly. You know how kids have wild imaginations, always playing around. While at the register, the daughter had to go to the bathroom. So the mom told her to hurry up. It was only a couple hours down, by the way. While in the bathroom, the daughter texted the mom saying the pale lady's in here who wanted a daughter. The mom, trying to get in a rush back home to her other kids, said, "Hurry up, we have to go. Stop playing around." 10 minutes later, and the daughter never came out. The mother, who was waiting outside the bathroom at this time, rushes in the bathroom to see what the heck is going on. The daughter was nowhere to be found. She even checked the stars to see if her daughter was was standing on a toilet or something. On one of the stalls, she found her daughter's cell phone on the floor.
Ooh.
By the way, if you made it this far in the video, comment down below your favorite fruit. Mine is mangoes. When she checked her phone, this was the last image found in it. Police still to this day have no explanation on what happened to that little girl.
Did you guys know that
The hell
mermaids
happened?
exist? So this tall drink of water is a fisherman off the coast of Massachusetts. And on his travels, he likes to document the things that he sees out in the ocean.
Alright.
What he catches this night is irrefutable evidence of the existence of mermaids. Okay, I'm just kidding. It's not irrefutable evidence, it's just very strong evidence of the existence of mermaids. Check it out.
Let's keep an open mind.
We got another one over here? What are those?
Oh, we definitely see someone swimming alongside him in the water.
What the fuck's going on?
Whoa.
On each side of the boat? What are those trails? Cause something's swimming fast underneath that water. Something's swimming real fast underneath that water. I hear him. Where's he at? What the fuck is that noise, bro?
Is that the siren song they sing?
What is that noise? Where are you? This is crazy. I heard it. I heard it.
We hear that.
Oh my god. That's crazy. That's
Jump?
Here's some of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time. Part 4. The Grinch has a well-known backstory about hating Christmas. However, eventually in the movie, his heart grows 3 sizes and he loves Christmas once again. But this story may continue longer than we think. It is clear that the Grinch isn't exactly right in the head, but during one of the Grinch's wacky stunts, he could have gotten a head injury. This injury would later take a toll on him as he grew old and caused him to lose his memory. After him and his dog died, they were given a new life in a realm called Halloween Town, where they now lived as Jack Skellington in Zero. He later reunites with his love for Christmas, just like he had when he was alive. Both eventually wear a Santa suit, both deliver presents, and both have a doll companion. It may be possible that How the Grinch Stole Christmas and The Nightmare Before Christmas are tied together.
Are they connected? I never even thought about it like that before. Interesting theory. We're definitely gonna have to check that out, man. They have some similarities. Can't lie. That's an edit. Call it like I said.
This pastor is being accused of unaliving his own wife. This case is currently ongoing, but it's been so highly suggested, so this is what we know so far. On April 28th, Pastor John Paul Miller made the shocking announcement at the end of his church service that his wife, Micah, had unalived herself. He then asked everyone to leave quietly and not discuss his wife's death. Micah's family and friends do not believe this cause of death and have taken to social media with the hashtag Justice for Micah. John Paul also wrote Micah's obituary, where he talked mostly about himself, not even Micah, who was the one that passed away. He also painted their marriage as like a perfect relationship, which is really odd considering that Micah filed for divorce and a restraining order against her husband only days before her passing. The weeks prior to Micah's passing, she was sharing on Facebook about abusive relationships and really just hinting that something wasn't right. A friend of Micah's has come out and confirmed that Micah told her that there was abuse in the marriage, and also that church funds were being used for things not church related. And since, more friends and family of Micah have come out with similar accounts. Also been some speculation that John Paul was having an affair, a years-long affair, with this woman that he's been seeing in the days before and the days after Micah's death. That woman's husband also passed away in a really suspicious way, but that's just online speculation for right now. The investigation is currently ongoing, so hopefully we have answers really, really soon. But in the meantime, make sure to leave all your thoughts, theories, questions, and case suggestions in the comments for me.
She went on Instagram Live and did something so evil that by the end of it, he took his own life. This is the worst thing an influencer has ever done, and I'm giving you the whole story. Hang on. 100,000 people tuned in to watch trans beauty influencer Sophia Tolouni go live. Then she invited one of her fans to join and asked if he was gay. And in Morocco, being gay is very dangerous. He said no. Then she showed screenshots of him on Grindr, a dating app for gay men. She said if he doesn't recognize himself, she would show more revealing pictures. So he said he was gay and quit the live. Then she told everyone on the live to download Grindr and look for their sons and husband. And men began disappearing. They were beaten up by their families, and at least 2 people, including this young man, took their own life. But isn't Sophia trans? Her family rejected her, and she wants others to experience it too. Instagram deleted her account, but she was never punished in any other way.
That's a messed up story.
Imagine living with a dead body for 5 months. It was March 2011 in Penwortham in Lancashire. Police received a very strange anonymous tip-off which led them to a local house in the area. There they discovered 54-year-old former lorry driver Guy Blackburn lying deceased in a bed. The man was taken away from the property to undergo a post-mortem. It was clear, however, that he'd been dead for a very long period of time. Now, Guy had been living at the property for a long time, but his health had recently been worsening. He became so unwell that he was unable to leave the property at all. Neighbours got worried about Guy after they hadn't seen him in a few months. Guy was living with his son, 28-year-old Christopher. Now, Christopher was actually a dad to a 10-year-old daughter of his own. Christopher had told his daughter that her granddad was simply asleep. Neighbours would ask Christopher how his dad was, to which he replied, yeah, he's fine. However, they began to get suspicious. The post-mortem came back and confirmed that Guy had actually passed away due to heavy drinking and heavy smoking.
What the
He'd been deceased since around November 2010. Christopher admitted to living in the house with his dad's dead body. He said he did this in order to claim benefits. He claimed income support and was withdrawing money out of his dead dad's bank account. By the time he was caught, he had claimed nearly £2,000. He admitted to preventing the lawful burial of his dad and stealing money, and he was jailed for 3 years.
Why aren't more people
just
talking
for money,
about
man.
the huge updates in the Laken Riley case, y'all? Check this out. Clark County Sheriff's Office released the mugshot of this guy, Jose Antonio Ibarra. He's a 26-year-old guy that's being held on charges in the red room of this girl right here, 22-year-old Laken Riley. And in case you don't know, she was a nursing student in Georgia, and her body was actually discovered in like a forested area behind Lake Herrick. One of the craziest parts about this case too is that there appears to be no motive. And Jose here apparently didn't even know Laken at all, which is really scary because investigators are saying that it looks like it was just a crime of opportunity. And it doesn't stop there. Apparently Jose isn't a U.S. citizen, and he never even attended the University of Georgia. And if you thought I was done there, you'd still be mistaken, because apparently his brother here, Diego, was arrested for having a fake green card. Diego here says he is too afraid to return to Venezuela, so the Department of Justice is actually keeping him in state custody, and he's awaiting an asylum hearing. Y'all, this case is crazy as hell. Leave a like, follow if you like true crime, and leave some comments. Y'all, let me know what you think about this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Some twists and turns, man.
What are you doing? Dad? Dad? What are you doing?
So just like the caption says, that girl gets locked in the basement by her father. That father does so many sick and twisted things to his daughter that you would never believe that this was actually based on a true story.
Come again?
That movie is called A Girl in the Basement, and it's available right now at mylifetime.com/watchripped, so go ahead and watch it. It's so disturbing, but it's such a great movie that you need to watch it. Thank you, Lifetime, for sponsoring this video.
You guys gonna check that out? Those crime movies, man. All this media and stuff we're watching that based on true stories. We just gotta open our eyes to it and pay attention.
This woman laid on a couch for 12 years until she was basically melted to it. So have you ever heard of Lacy Fletcher? Lacy's parents were Sheila and Clay Fletcher. They moved to Slaughter, Louisiana about 28 years ago. As soon as they moved to Louisiana, Lacy became involved in her school. She was making friends with all the neighbor kids. She liked to go outside and play. She even joined the volleyball team and seemed like the typical teenager.
Okay.
Lacy was described by her peers as highly intelligent, but a little bit immature for her age. Lacy really enjoyed things that her peers thought of as childish. But she was still very smart and very outgoing, but not much else is known about Lacy. At the age of 14, Lacy's parents decided to homeschool her, and that's when she just kind of disappeared from the public. Her friends from school and the neighbor kids just stopped seeing her come out as much as she used to. And it kind of seemed like Sheila and Clay were the reason that Lacy was being so isolated. They were the reason that she no longer went out into public. She was able to have a birthday party when she turned 18 years old, and she invited all of her school friends and just friends to come watch Disney movies, but at this point, these kids were 18 years old. They didn't want to sit around and watch Disney movies with her. The last time Lacy was seen in public was by her neighbor in 2007.
Damn.
This neighbor thought that Lacy looked very thin, but he just figured that she was exercising because she was using those weights that you can put around your ankles to walk around. And then Lacy is not ever seen again in public. In 2017, the neighbor did ask about Lacy, figuring that she had either gotten married or moved on, gone to college, or done something else with her life. But Clay told him that Lacy was still there, she was still at home. But the neighbor didn't press further. He didn't question why he didn't see her. He just kind of let things be.
Okay.
Then on January 3rd of 2022 at about 2 in the morning, there is a 911 call received from Sheila. Sheila says that her daughter has stopped breathing. When emergency services arrived, they realized that there was something very wrong with the situation. Lacy was laying on the couch, and it almost seemed like she had melted to it. She had all kinds of sores that had been opened all the way down to the bone. Her hair was knotted up, and there were maggots crawling around in it. And emergency services could tell that Lacy had been laying there for a very, very long time. There were feces and there was urine all over the couch.
Things humans were never meant to see.
The hell are they doing to her, man?
Man transforms into real werewolf.
We believe in werewolves, or is this just gonna be a edit? Go. I think this would be all over the internet, or if you've seen a real werewolf. If this turns out to be legit. Okay, we know this is Etta, right? Every single time he changes, it's like we can't see his face though. That's a high freaking quality edit. His name is Josh Rushling? Yeah, that's an edit. No, what ain't?
No human responses were elicited from the subject. However, he remained mostly calm throughout the night, growling only when approached. He seemed more afraid of us than we were of him.
This is Funky Town, one of the worst cartel execution videos explained. Okay, before I begin, this is a massive trigger warning. The video begins in some sort of room and there is music playing. The first song that plays is Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses, and the camera pans to the victim tied on the floor with some plastic wire, but the torture already began before the video starts. Because the victim looks like he already went through complete brutality. His hands have already been cut off and his face has been completely flayed, which means skinned. There is no skin on the victim's face at all, and his eyes have been gouged out. And there's an insane amount of blood on the floor. But the most messed up part about this is that the victim is hooked up to some sort of IV, and the IV is pumping him with drugs to keep him alive and aware, making sure he felt everything happening to him. At the start of the video, they try and slit his throat with a sickle and press it against his jaw. But when the victim begins to scream, they shove a box cutter in his mouth to shut him up. His screams are absolutely gut-turning. They kept going from screaming to gurgling, from screaming to gurgling. And as the video progresses, they take the box cutter and slit his throat about 40 times. And keep in mind, the victim is still alive and aware of everything because of the drugs they are giving him to keep him alive. Also, the killers are mocking and laughing at the victim the entire time. They continue to try and slit his throat with the box cutter and were going at his neck numerous times, all while the song Funky Town was playing in the background, hence the name of the video. The killers kept having to physically restrain the victim, meaning there was still a lot of life left in him, and the amount of pain he had to be in is completely unimaginable. At one point in the video, a man had his foot on his chest holding him down, and another time they had shoved a pole in his mouth holding him in place. But the worst part about the video is towards the end, where the victim manages to loosen his arms from the restraints and immediately tries to touch his face. But remember, the victim has no face at all, no hands, and no eyes. But instinctively, the victim still tries to touch his face. It's absolutely horrifying, and the video then concludes. Keep in mind, the victim was still alive when the video ended, so who knows what else they did to him before he died. Because they were literally keeping him alive just to torture him. This victim went through so much pain and torment, and you can make an argument that nobody has ever been tortured as bad as this guy ever. I explain this based off pure memory from the first time I saw the video, because I won't dare watch it again because it's that gruesome. Everybody who saw videos like this always say Funky Town is the worst of the worst. And I honestly think that might be true, so please don't watch it and please don't search it up.
Crazy video, man. That Funky Town video he's talking about, saying he only watched it once because he wouldn't dare watch it again. And that's all he said. That was off of pure memory seekers. How much it was freaking embedded into his mind. He had to take his word for it. It's crazy. You guys, that's it, man, for this video for you guys today, man. If you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker, seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, make sure to follow me on my social medias, man, so we can stay connected. We could grow the Seekers, grow these communities together. So links are in the description down below. Make sure you guys check it out. We're grinding, man. We're going to be uploading every single day, man. That's what I've been doing, and I plan to continue to do just that. You guys gonna catch in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, Seekers.